14:15 Central African time. If you have just joined us, a very warm welcome to Africa at Play, the continent's best sport and music destination. We welcome the champion, boxing manager and trainer, Colin Nomakanjani Nathan, to the conversation. Colin, a very good afternoon and a very warm welcome to Africa at Play.
Yeah, Viva, and it's just great being in your platform again, Neto. My voice is still a bit croaky. You know the story. My voice turned into Michael Jackson last week in the corner. And I'm just kind of tired. Like I haven't really recovered because I went straight back into work. But it's just great talking in your station and your platform. So big shout out to the listeners and to you as well.
Yeah, I actually followed the fight and I could just tell from your voice that Colin is on another level. Tell us about Mexico, because you're making it a habit of championship events whenever you go to Mexico. You did it again in Mexico. How's it going in Mexico?
So look, in terms of actually traveling into the hometown fighter's backyard, I've always had this belief in myself and my fighter that if you're good enough to win and you have fair judging and you dominate the rounds, or if you win on a stoppage like with Sive's case, you will win the fights. So with regards to Mexico, I really do enjoy going to Mexico. The people are very humble. They love boxing, male and female. They're absolutely hero worship fighters. So it's just incredible to go there and be in any kind of environment where, it's like, I love going to East London, for example, because it's like boxing's part of the culture down there. So when you walk to even the garage, a guy will stop you and say, "Hey, Nomakanjani here for the fight." So Mexico is no different.
Yeah.
I found that the fighters who go to Mexico that I've been with, Sivenathi and Heki, they seem to be more popular there than they are in their own countries, which is weird.
Wow. And it also shows that you are not playing games at Hot Boxing Club, because I was even checking your videos on social media, the work that you do with Sive himself, just how committed you guys are. And it's almost like your opponents whenever you are in training because of the amount of work that you want to achieve. What do you say to Sive? Because every time he goes into the boxing ring, he's ever fresh and ready to make history every time.
Yeah, so it's a good question. You obviously talked about the post that I put out last night with regards to the training footage. Firstly, from a personal perspective, I've often been told that, Colin Nomakanjani Nathan's a very intense person.
Yeah.
Man, he's intense. And, being mic'd up in the corner, I actually forgot that I was mic'd up, so I have to apologize about the foul language at times. But when any of my fighters and I get to work, because it's our jobs, I take it incredibly seriously. So whether it's a prelim 4-round fighter or world championship, I walk into my office and I walk into coaching on the floor for one reason and one reason only, and that's to win. Wow. And I've always had that mentality. I've got a very hard work ethic, as you know, and I expect my fighters to give me 110%. Giving me your very best, unfortunately, boxing, it's not good enough. You got to go beyond giving your very best. And that's the difference between sometimes winning and losing, and being a good fighter to being a very good fighter to being a great fighter.
Hot Box Gym, Nomakanjani, because this is where champions are being created. This is the space that you've created to make certain that you take boxing to another level. And you keep going at it. How's it going so far?
So, listen, I'm in the sport to make champions, change lives with positive vibes. That's what I'm in the game for. It's interesting because I've never really sat back. I think I might have told you in a previous interview here in your studio where I don't really sit back and admire my career. But for once now, I actually am sitting back and thinking, I've done okay. Like, I've done, really, really well. And I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
Just in terms of where I want to be, for me, I'm highly ambitious. I feel that I'm still young and I haven't even got off the starting blocks yet. So in terms of where I want to be, I still really want to give this another 10, 15 years of coaching. in terms of being in boxing, I want to do this until I can't do it anymore. So the sports has been incredible to me. It's blessed me. I've given a lot to boxing, but I still have so much more to give. Now, in terms of actual championships, the last time I did a championship head count was at the end of 2017, and I was sitting at about 41, 42 professional championships, excluding title defenses. I'm sure we're pushing close to 60 or over 60 championship fights and championship champions over the years, and it's been incredible. But I still want more. I still am very, very hungry for more champions and discovering and uncovering amazing South African boxing talents. And now I've started branching out. It's not just about South Africa. I'm working with a Ghanaian kid, Alfred Lamte. I'm off to Abu Dhabi on Monday. He's 12-0 with 9 knockouts, lightweight, who I believe is going to could be potentially my next world champion as well. And we've got so many young, talented fighters in South Africa through Hotbox and No Doubt Management coming through that you just never know who's going to step up and become champion of the world.
And I'm happy that you've touched on the Ghanaian boxer, because during our previous conversations, I've always touched on you spreading your wings into the African continent, because of, if you are incredible at what you do, it can't just be cocooned or confined to a limited space. Yes, the country is big, but the continent is even bigger.
Yes, and I mean, I'm always open to work with fighters, provided they're talented and committed, and there's obviously we can align in terms of business. But if, for example, Mike Tyson was in his prime and he needed a coach or manager, or he needed an advisor, I would be available and accessible. So I'm never going to close the door to opportunities, especially here in Africa and even internationally. But I'm going to make this very clear. I love Johannesburg and I love South Africa.
Yeah.
So I've often been asked the question over the years, would I consider leaving the country? I'm proudly South African. I love being here, and this is my country. And, if this interview is going live beyond Africa, Africa is a very, very cheap place to set up camp. Johannesburg particularly is altitude. We've got great sparring, world-class sparring at Hotbox. And, you can get hold of my email address on Instagram. So I'm always available to do business. But right now, in terms of actual coaching, I'm very happy with my lots. I'm very happy with my stock. And I just feel that my business is just continuously expanding. And I just think success breeds success. So, like I said, man, I'm still in the starting blocks. That's how I feel.
You say you want to do more and achieve more. And I'm certain there's someone else out there who's in the industry of boxing who's thinking in the similar pattern. What is it that you do differently in terms of making certain that you are always ahead of your opponents?
It's a good question. I've always thought that success in life is based on relationships. The fighters that are under my guidance and ask me or let me represent them believe in me, and I believe in myself. So the thing is, and the other aspect of my career is, I've always been prepared to do things that no one else is prepared to do. So, for example, just before COVID in 2020, I jumped on a plane and I went to Dakar, Senegal, to the African Olympic qualifiers. Now, I was sitting in the crowd and I was kind of, obviously I take a look around what's going on. I don't think there was anyone else actually doing that in the continent. So I'm prepared to jump on a plane, go to Timbuktu if need be for a boxing meeting to get a contract over the line. I'll do that. And I think a lot of people aren't prepared to do that. And I think I've navigated a way to hustle. I think, COVID had a major effect on all of us. And I've been through some really hard, difficult times financially as well. But I've always found a way to navigate the hustle and to succeed and achieve. And I've always kind of maybe sat in my office and contemplated, how am I going to get out of this, or how am I going to navigate this? But I've always found a way. And that's why I'm called Nomakanjani, because I'll find a way no matter what.
Before the loss of your voice in Mexico, has it happened before?
It has happened before, but not during a fight. Like I'd wake up the next morning and like I was like, but not during a fight.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but and again, it happened, and I didn't even think the mic was on me. It's only until like when you go back and you're like, like I'm speaking to Eddie Hearn and I'm using foul language, and I go back and the producer, the floor manager comes in, he says to me, Colin, like, I need your mic back. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was mic'd up.
Yeah.
And I've been mic'd up for like the last hour and a half. That's so crazy. What have I said? What have I done? And then, you see the raw footage and, the guys in Matchroom say, Colin, do you want anything edited out? And I'm like going through it and I'm thinking, no, the raw, the better. People want to see the emotion.
Yeah.
I mean, in a real world, did I really want my voice to be lost during the fight? No.
Yeah.
But it happened, and it's the real side of me, and it's the real side of boxing, and it's the real side of emotion, because boxing is an individual sport. I've always said that, but it takes a team to get the individual to the pinnacle of where he or she needs to be.
Wow, when you have Nomakanjani on board, like the name Nomakanjani, it doesn't matter what happens. Nomakanjani, it will happen. That's Nomakanjani for you. As we wrap up this conversation, what's coming up next for the special one?
Just to embellish this moment, becoming the first fighter in South African boxing history to lose his credible world championship in stunning fashion, to get an immediate rematch and reclaim that championship with the odds being 16-1. How I know this is I had a friend put down $100. He lives in America, and he got $1,600 back. To enjoy this moment for South African boxing, to enjoy this historic moment for South African boxing, and just to know that, we got complacent in Monte Carlo. We learned from that. We took the defeat literally on the chin. We were miserable about it. I think Sive and I both realized, and the team, we both realized that we owed one for South African boxing. And just, feel the emotions of what it's like to be in this position of a two-time world champion. And then have a good break. And then let's get back to the gym and back to the lab.
Wow, what's happening in June?
There have been discussions. You wanted to know if it's confirmed? No, nothing is confirmed until you've signed on the dotted line. But there are discussions with Matchroom, which I need to obviously navigate and embellish further with Matchroom. But right now, June's a possibility, but we're just enjoying this moment of becoming two-time world champion.
As I let you go, your inboxes in your social media platform, are they always flooded?
So the good thing is I've got a new Facebook account, so I'm a little bit more cagey. The last time I lost 5,000 of my closest friends. So now I think I'm on about 700 or so I can pick and choose. Yeah. I'm getting messages daily, guys wanting to join. And I mean, as much as I love fighters and I love boxing, I can't work with everyone. I mean, I can't. I simply just don't have the manpower, even with amazing coaching staff that I have. And it's not just in Johannesburg. I've started branching out globally, nationally around the country. But I am fortunate where fighters are reaching out to me, asking me to get involved with their careers. So yeah, I am getting quite a lot of messages.
We had a lot of conversations, you and I, during COVID.
I remember.
And I kept on asking, where do you get this inflation of good energy from when a lot of people are deflated and you remained positive, you remained optimistic? What would you like to say to a child around Africa who sometimes gets deflated thinking it's the end of the world when it's not?
It's a very good question and it's a very good thought. I have a strong desire to succeed in my life. I come from a very hard background. I had a very difficult childhood growing up. And I always wanted to be different. That was the first thing. And I always wanted to excel. Now, I'm dreaming of... Sorry, when I was younger, I dreamt of the success that I'm having now. And I never thought that my life and career would shape the way it is towards the sport that I love with all my heart. But I always dreamt that I could do it. And now when I've been given the platforms, I've achieved with my athletes. If a fight is good enough, but really, really good enough, and if that fighter believes in themselves, they will succeed. They will, and they've got the hustle in them. There are African countries out there that don't have professional platforms in terms of commissions. But those fighters, if they believe in themselves and they've got the hustle in them and they've got the ambition to succeed, they will be seen, they will be noticed, and they can reach great heights.
Wow, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for pulling through to Africa at Play, spending a full hour with us. Amazing stuff.